Good morning, it's officially morning. And I just got a text going this way on this direction of the phone. It's actually just a pop-up to watch Thedailywoo. And this is the version of when Adam the Woo must attend jury duty after being summoned. I personally would have told him to go to HE double hockey sticks and not attended because, well, it's possible corona. If you don't have the vaccine, you shouldn't have to attend jury duty because it could risk your life. Those are flags. You can see that they are American and Texas flags. There. It's my neighbor likes to complain. Love thy neighbor. People are just cheering. But as I was gonna say, I usually try to get away from other people when I'm. Texas was once a republic. It was once its own country. I think a great idea if more of the states can kind of think that way. You know, ideally, if you think about it, we could all become independent, 50 separate countries. It probably will end up happening. This whole union thing, this whole idea, because of the fact that the United States of America is in trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. They owe money. You know who they owe the money to? They owe the money to you. The United States of America owes money to you. Got another message right here. But the reason I wanted to kind of check in was I wrote a book called Chin, Part 1. And I'm thinking about possibly Part 2. I was thinking about that this morning. I was going to show my bedroom, but my neighbor was out on the balcony, so I chose a different avenue. I'm not saying avoid thy neighbor. It's supposed to be love thy neighbor, supposedly. I'm not really supposed to complain. So just take what, it's like somebody's working on something. Oh, that's right. We're checking the pipes due to the February freeze. Anyway, everybody's got their own little Kissimmee. I'm originally from Fort Worth. So if I go back to Fort Worth, I can show you a lot of, actually, if you ever, on my channel, or you see From Now Until Morning, that was filmed on West 7th with a friend of mine, Rob, who's, we met in theater class, and all we ever talked about was film and things like that. But anyway, I did write a book. I've written many attempts at books. I think Chin is probably, I decided to write in first person, to kind of have my own tongue, you know, my own way of speaking, my own way of doing things. But anyway, I just wanted to check in. I was thinking this morning about a good Part 2 entrance. I was going to talk about vloggers and vlogging. I just changed my sheets, and right there I was laying here. There's my ceiling fan right here. Talk about my ceiling fan and Chin. And I was just thinking about an intro to Part 2. Basically this. The poor person will always play it safe. The rich person will not play it safe. The first time I can recall ever seeing a home video ever projected other than, or any type of film projected other than Hollywood, seeing Hollywood movies when I was little, was my dad got an 8mm camera, and I think the camera that he got actually could turn into a projector. And he took some film of my sister and I playing on a swing set and a slide. Didn't even know that he did it. I was probably before kindergarten. I was very little, about 4 years old. I remember it. I remember it as clear as day. And he brought my sister and I into a living room, and he had already developed the film. I guess, I don't know where he developed it, but if it was at the local drugstore or wherever, whoever sent it out to get developed, but he got the projector going, and he had a sheet on the wall, and there was my sister and I running around on a swing, running around a swing set and getting on a slide. And that was the first time that I ever saw that it could be done, by a family member or just a normal person. Eventually, a cousin of mine who went to Washington to run a community television station, got a hold of a video camera, or his mom gave him one, and a little advertisement there. I was going to do it without saying anything, but anyway. He ended up getting a video camera when we were pretty young. We were probably like almost high school. Actually, you know what? It was probably more like junior high. We were big Saturday Night Live fans, so we started doing mock Saturday Night Live videos. One was called Cole's World, which was a mock Wayne's World. A lot of people have done that. And that was kind of one of our first. Our moms were in it. And they were making fun of my stepdad because of my stepdad was a PE coach, and he got onto my aunt for using too much toilet paper one time or something. I got a message. And we made this video. We ended up making 3 like mini features that were comedy based on Saturday Night Live kind of stuff. We even named them and kind of had like a kind of a script in a way. And one of them was, the first one was over a summer, or it was a few days or a week over the summer, called Monsters of Nanny's House, which was we used the Nintendo. We rigged the Nintendo as a way for sound, for not sound, but for music. And then the second one was called Adventures with Coffee. I think we were maybe in high school at that time. Did the same thing with that one, but we used rock and roll music, REM and things like that. And the third one was Kidnapped by a Carnivore, which we did the same thing with that one. That one we attempted a script, which was about the kidnapping of Stephen Patrick Morrissey from the Smiths by a carnivore. And we did those from junior high to high school. 3 really big ones. I think we did another one too. Then he went to film school and I went to theater school. Later, after I ended up graduating from the University of North Texas, I ventured to Hollywood. And after a while, I ended up in New York City, where I actually did experience 9/11. When I was in New York, I was studying at a place called the Actors Studio, at a school called the New School University, where Sean Baker went. He directed the Florida Project. Then I went home to write. It took me a while to get a device where I could edit this quick and sufficient. In Hollywood, I actually studied with Simone, Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. Her name was Diane Salinger. Anyway, but just wanted to tell you that, give you an idea. I take this stuff pretty serious. Getting ready to go, Fujo.
I think, you know, with this being a resale shop, they got the higher brand stuff, you know.
They do live music at the sushi. If you squint really hard, it says Sushi C. Guy in there was pretty good. He's playing. It's gonna turn off though. Let's see. There we go. He's a pretty good guy. I think basically what Pearl Jam was doing was there was a response to Generation X and the absence, you know, of a generation. You know, wanting to be heard, an emotional cry out that I exist. You know, I am here and I'm alive. I think that was a lot of what Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam were trying to do. It was they were responding to the time of them coming out of the, I guess, they grew up in the 1970s, they're coming out of the 80s, going into the 90s, trying to find identity in the 1990s and later. I think that Eddie Vedder probably had more of the psychological pain, and he was responding to some of that, while Kurt Cobain, of course, was responding to hunger and responding to physical pain of his stomach. But I think there was maybe a spiritual pain too going on with Eddie Vedder. It's a little bit different. Some could argue that Kurt Cobain could have been singing about Christianity, because he did keep a journal to Jesus. I mean, you know, the journal that he wrote to, he would say, "Dear Jesus." So it started off with Jesus. So it was a struggle of faith, which most Christians do have, but it was a dirty struggle, and most turn away. But 50 years from now, there is a possibility that this could possibly be faith-based and what he meant in a poetic way. Just like John Bunyan, when he wrote Pilgrim's Progress, a lot of people probably saw that as complete, you know, nutty craziness. And they probably see this, you know, Nirvana being, you know, something similar. You know, what is this nut singing about? But when you go back and you really listen to it, it could almost be faith-based. So this area is highly secure for probably corporate people in IT, maybe people that are high shares of Microsoft and Apple, Google, people that are well protected. You have to get sometimes show an ID or get permission to get into this area right here. So you got a lot of CEO, owners of businesses, computer nerds, a lot of people that have quite a bit of power. This little neighborhood where you see an occasional squirrel, you know, maybe some ducks. There's some ducks that come by around there. They got a bridge, then a moat, and security. This is a really nice house here in this secure area. Right outside of Irving, not too far from Las Colinas. These are kind of like an example of some of the probably maybe 16, $17 million homes. This guy right here is probably like a multi-millionaire. Probably owns a lot of stock in Apple, things like that. These two probably shares in Google, maybe Microsoft. Going in more of maybe Apple shares right here, there, and then probably like a lot of IT folks right up here off Sherman Oak. Is anybody really ever out of the oven? Ever? Really? I want to kind of honor a duck crossing. Those could have been shoes right there. There were paper sacks. They were doing among the leaves. So it's kind of a landing point. It's called Center Point Landing. A lot of people coming maybe from other big cities can land at Center Point. Pretty easy. pretty quick. Once you get that thumb going, it gets a little bit quicker. Take some practice. So basically what's good about center point is this is the center point area. You can always just take this right here, and this will lead you to the T train, which will take you either Fort Worth or into downtown Dallas. Downtown Dallas, you have what's called a Dart Rail. Dart Rail is very good because it takes you all through Dallas and different theaters and things like that are reopening here in about a month. Also other restaurants and fun stuff like that, businesses and stuff. So I landed here 2001 or 2000, no, I'm sorry, way off. 2003, not necessarily there, in this kind of area, because right by the airport. And I had a bicycle, and I substituted school, and I could get on a bike. If I got up at like 5 in the morning, I could get to the school, substitute, and then could also take the T train to Dallas or to Fort Worth, mostly Dallas, pick up some tables there, a little extra waiting money. This was all probably like 2003, 2004, going into 2005, right before first time I got married was in 2005. And I worked at that 7-Eleven over there, which you can't see. And I'd take the train, sometimes in to wait some tables. Or after 7-Eleven, I'd take this route right here on a bicycle, right along here, all the way to a place called Cameron Oasis, where I wrote 2 or 3, maybe 4 books. 3 or 4 books that way. Over on the other side of Fall, which is American Airlines Museum. Federation Airlines, kind of American Airlines area is all right here. Which pretty much is, my mom worked there for a long time. I think it was probably about Jack Kerouac, or a version of maybe Jack Kerouac in one way or another. Jack Kerouac spent quite a bit of time on the road, and probably went through a lot of the story in his head, either while he was driving or as a passenger. He was drunk in the back of the seat, kind of laying on the floor at times. Maybe a few motorcycles, flip by. Probably while he was just, just thinking in his head, what's this road all about? What are all these people, these little motorcycle devices, what are they really about? Going from, I don't know, different parts of the East, maybe Chicago, maybe going all the way through California. I don't know, maybe like thinking about New York while he's passing through the desert, looking at the sky. He's kind of thinking about things, just got a typewriter, eventually gets out. Maybe they go to like a hotel or motel with Cassidy, write some things down, just thinking about the sun, kill moon.